And welcome once again to another edition of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. Happy Wednesday. We get you ready for this upcoming week, a jam-packed lineup here on the Sports Beat. I've got another special guest. He is BeeTV Sports Director Kevin Eckleberry. We're going to talk all things Troup County and Chambers County up in that region when it comes to high school football. I'll give my Alabama high school football report. We've got some new rankings that came out for the Alabama Writers Association, and I will break down all the games that will be happening Thursday and Friday night. And then Kevin will come on the show. But before we get into anything, we have got to talk Phenix City Little League. This has been a national sensation. I'm actually going to start the show talking about that team from Phenix City in Williamsport. They staved off elimination again last night, beating Tacoma of Washington 4-2. After the night before, they came back from 5 runs down to beat Chester of Pennsylvania, and they will be taking on Ohio later tonight. In fact, in a couple hours, another elimination game for that group from Phenix City Little League. And we talk about Kinley Rasmus a lot on this show, and she's been fantastic. She set the record for the most hits by a girl in Little League history, in the Little League World Series history, and she came in on the mound on Monday. It was sensational, and she's going to be on 3 days rest. She'll be available on Saturday, but you got to talk about Jerry Taylor coming in and having a heroic performance, 5 innings of work, and really shutting down the bats of Tacoma, Washington. And Frank McCabe, the starting pitcher for Tacoma, he had some runs against him, including an RBI single by Kinley Rasmus. And what can you say? Easton Allen, Uri Burklight. We had Riker Rasmus, Lorenzo Quintero, Cam Lee, E.J. Harrison, the Cooper Champion. This group has been so fantastic, all 12 of them. We're going to remember their names for the rest of our lives. I mean, this has really captivated the whole Phenix City, Columbus area by storm. This has been a national news because it's been on Good Morning America. It's led Sports Center. Everybody around this country is talking about it. And I can't wait to be at a watch party or watching it at home or wherever for Phenix City Little League tonight, taking on Ohio. Yeah, what a time just to cover this team and having the privilege of getting to interview Coach Rasmus and Coach Quintero and Kinley Rasmus when I was down at Warner Robins for the Southeast Regional Tournament Championship. It was a lot of fun, and I was just excited, and hopefully they can continue this momentum and just continue playing in the elimination bracket, because we got 8 teams remaining in Williamsport. We've got a team from Curacao taking on a team from Nicaragua. In the winners bracket, we've got Davenport, Iowa taking on Henderson, Nevada. And then how about that team from the north, Vancouver, Canada, as they end up taking on Tokyo of Japan later tonight. And, of course, Phenix City Little League taking on Hamilton of Ohio. And then we got some more elimination games tomorrow. The United States Championship is going to be on Saturday, and the U.S. versus International, the World Series itself, the championship game, will be on Sunday, and then we will put a bow on Williamsport. All right, let's switch gears from Little League World Series to Alabama high school football. And we talked about Georgia on Monday. I'm going to talk a little Alabama high school football because we had some teams in action. We talked about Smith Station. They were taking on Northside. They ended up losing to Northside. Glenwood was able to beat Lee Scott 7-0. This counts. It counts as a game. I was at Central Thompson on Thursday, and Thompson was able to get the win over Central. We've had Lochapoka ended up beating Lynette, so congratulations to them. And let's see what else. We had a busy slate of games on Friday. Just going down the scoreboard, we had Dothan ended up beating Bay 35-28. Prattville ended up beating Niceville out of Florida 49-7. What's some other scores that we've got? I try to cover all the East Alabama teams. Try to cover Montgomery and Dothan down on the Wiregrass whenever I get a chance. But there's so many teams in Alabama. How about Fife beating Central Clay? That was a huge upset. Hoover was able to beat Muscle Shoals. What's some other teams? Mars Hill Bible. I got some friends up in Florence, Alabama. I know about Mars Hill Bible. 24-21 Madison Academy. They are going to be in single A private. So they are a state championship contender over there in Florence. Know about Keith. They were able to beat Calhoun 38-0. We had Bessemer City beat Pell City 31-14. Now, Pell City is going to end up taking on Central next opponent. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, let's take a look as we've got Laverne ended up beating Pike County 52-14. Montgomery Catholic beating Tallahassee 34-7. And then Russell County. What a job that they did beating Booker T. Washington 55 to. I'm trying to look at the score right now as the Russell County Warriors without Bryson Riggins. Bryson Riggins is now at Miles College. Russell County that was the game that I knew they could win, but I just did not think that they were going to win as much as they did. And trying to get the score for you over there. And Russell County ended up winning 55-7. An incredible performance by the Russell County Warriors, which they will be on the road taking on Headland next. Thomasville over Leroy 22-21. Park Crossing over Woodlawn 21-8. You had Eufaula ended up losing to Montgomery Catholic 19-8. And we also had Lochapoka ended up beating Lynette. Enterprise ended up beating Pike Road 40-38. Headland ended up beating Abbeville 41-6. And it was Orange Beach over TR Miller 24-14. Reeltown ended up beating Beauregard 28-0. Sylacauga ended up beating Holtville 35-6. And we had Marbury ended up beating Shelby County 35-6. Hewitt-Trussville defeated Auburn 56-42. It was Southside Selma over Chelsea 30-7. Prattville Christian ended up beating Goshen 47-0. We had Brantley ended up beating Pike Liberal Arts 48-27. And we had Wetumpka shutting out Andalusia 19-0. And we had Zion Chapel end up losing to Kingston 37-6. The Carver of Montgomery Wolverines beat Percy Julian 44-0. Percy Julian is actually hosting Smith Station this Thursday night. It's one of the two Thursday night games that we are going to feature as we've got Smith Station at Percy Julian. And then how about this matchup? Clay Chalkville at Thompson. Clay Chalkville ended up getting a win over Creekside. Thompson was able to get a win over Central. That's going to be really a clash of the top 6A school going up against the top 5A school. We got St. Paul's Episcopal that ended up beating Alma Bryant 58-28. And let's take a look at some other scores around Alabama. It was a good night for Alabama. Let's take a look at the latest rankings. This is according to the Alabama Writers Association. In 6A, no question about it, the Thompson Warriors are in first place. They're number one, followed by Vestavia Hills. Central, who lost to Thompson, goes down to 3. Opelika, who has not played a game yet, they will take on Hoover. They are at number 4. Hewitt-Trussville, big win over Auburn. They're up in the rankings at number 5. And Hoover, that Opelika-Hoover matchup is going to be a showdown. Auburn drops to number 7 after losing to Hewitt-Trussville. Prattville at number 8, Spain Park at number 9, and then Carver Montgomery rounds out the top 10. Just moving over to Class 5A, Clay Chalkville, they are number 1. They're the defending 6A champions from last year. 5A this year. Saraland at number 2. We got Benjamin Russell there in Russell County's region out of Alexandria City. They're at number 3. Homewood at 4. We've got Mountain Brook at 6. Muscle Shoals at 7. Russell County up a couple of spots at number 8, followed by Oxford and Pike Road. Pike Road also in Russell County's region. Over in 4A, we got Williamson, Vigor, who's got a couple of top prospects, according to Rivals.com, and Alexandria at number 3. Number 4, Scottsboro. Central Clay, they did lose. I expect them to drop from number 5. Hamilton at 6. Northside at 7. West Morgan at 8. Leeds at number 9. And then at number 10, we've got Jacksonville. Now let's go over to 3A. Plainville, Geraldine, Hanley. Hanley has not played a game yet. Jackson at number 4. Remember, this is the first year without Coach Cody Flournoy, who's now the coach at Central. Op at number 5, North Jackson at 6. Corner at 7. TR Miller at 8. Flomanton at 9. Juanetta at 10. 2A now. Fife at 1, Luverne 2, Reeltown at number 3, Piedmont at number 4, Pleasant Valley at number 5, Southside Selma at 6, Cottonwood at 7, Collinsville 8, Gordo 9, Lynette at 10. Lynette 0-1 after losing to Lochapoka. 1A, Maplesville, Wadley, Addison, Hubertville, Appalachian, Southern Choctaw, Lochapoka at number 7. They're now 1A. Leroy at 8, McKenzie 9, Red Bay at 10. And now we got private Class 2A. They're only ranking 5 teams according to the Alabama Writers Association. McGill, Tulane, Briarwood, Catholic Montgomery, St. Michael's, and St. Paul's. You're wondering where Glenwood is? Glenwood has got some receiving votes. So that win over Lee Scott Academy does count. And then finally, private Class 1A, Bayside Academy, Westbrook Christian, Montgomery Academy, Cottage Hill, and Mars Bible. And then they even throw in the AISA. Shout out to Chambers Academy. They did lose, though, but Patrician at number 1, Chambers at 2, Lowndes Academy at 3, Abbeville Christian at 4, and then Morgan Academy at 5. That's a look at the Alabama Writers Sports Association. That is their poll that they do every week. And so we talked about the Thursday night games in Alabama football. Auburn on the road on Friday, taking on Choctaw-Haketch. Beauregard taking on Lafayette. The Valley-Lynette rivalry is back. Cannot wait for this. Lee Scott at Lochapoka. Vestavia Hills taking on Benjamin Russell. What a massive game. Beulah taking on Horseshoe Bend. Opelika Hoover. Central is on the road taking on Pell City. Russell County's taking on Headland. Booker T. Washington at Eufaula. Murphy at Park Crossing. We have Dietrich at Horseshoe Bend. Wetumpka is at Tallahassee. Reeltown taking on Trinity Presbyterian. Wadley is on the road against Ranburn. Notasulga is taking on Calhoun. Prattville taking on Stanhope Elmore. Dothan is taking on Richard. Central Clay is on the road taking on Elmore County. Barber County is taking on Northside Methodist. Alabama Christian Academy taking on Georgiana. Sachs is going down to Wedowee to take on Randolph County. Elba is taking on Houston County over there in Dothan. And then Hueytown taking on Pike Road. Houston County, that's not in Dothan. But Shelby County is taking on Holtville. That is a look at Alabama side of the football. And so Glenwood's hosting Brookstone, and that's going to be at the Swamp. That was a game where Glenwood has a lot of momentum after beating Lee Scott. They called that game because of inclement weather, but they are 1-0 on the season. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, Kevin Eckleberry is coming on the show. You don't want to go anywhere. It's the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. Back after this. And welcome back to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. I am so excited because my next guest, I've known him for a while. He covers everything Troup County, and they have had a good week 1 so far. Please welcome to the Sports Beat, Kevin Eckleberry from BeeTV Sports. Kevin, what's going on?
Not much, Richard. You doing all right, man? It's good to talk to you as always.
I am doing great. It is high school football season. It is both our exciting time this year. And I tell you what, the teams up in Troup County, they have been on fire. And then you also have a pretty big game going on this Friday night up at Troup.
Yeah, it's probably not probably, it is my favorite sporting event that I cover each year. And of course, we're talking about Troup versus LaGrange or LaGrange versus Troup. You know, it's kind of the whole Georgia Florida thing, Florida Georgia. But yeah, it's always a fantastic game. It's going to be a packed house, and you know the football is going to be incredibly high quality, and especially this year. I mean, you look at what both of these teams did in week one, which you referenced a little bit. LaGrange goes up to Noonan, a really good Noonan team, and beats them 26-9, I believe the score was. And then Troup went up to Hampton, a good Hampton team, and just beat them 40-0. So
Yeah.
both teams had great opening nights. And if you look at the AJC and Georgia Sports Daily, they do their rankings. In 5A, I think LaGrange is fourth. And then in 4A, Troup is third. So you just put that together. It has the makings of being just another really special night in this rivalry.
Yeah, and 28-10 actually was the score. Peyton
Okay.
Davis
Yeah.
rushed for 95 yards and a touchdown off 18 carries. You're right. LaGrange went from 8-4 in 5A, and they are rolling, beating a 6A team in Noonan. And I think Coach Napier's got something special here. But Coach Glisson over there at Troup County, they are also something special. And I knew that losing a guy like Garrison Edwards, he's now at Navy. I thought that
Yeah.
was a big loss. But when you have Javarius Warner with 219 yards and 2 touchdowns, he is a gamer. This is a clash of two teams that are not only hot, but playing hot at the right time. And I know that they're going to shut the entire city of LaGrange down for LaGrange and Troup.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah, you mentioned Garrison Edwards, and yeah, he's up at the Naval Academy now. We wish him nothing but the best. He is just a outstanding student athlete, great baseball player as well, and he's actually going to try to play both sports at
Oh,
Navy,
nice.
which is so impressive. But you lose a guy like that, and then you have Chase Mosley, who's ready to step in at quarterback, and Chase has played a lot of quarterback over the past few years for when Garrison had to miss time with injuries. And Chase is a fantastic player. He's not the runner Garrison is, but nobody is really. But he has a really strong arm. But yeah, you mentioned Warner, Javarius Warner, what he does for Troup. It's just, my gosh, he is a touchdown waiting to happen. He's a Duke commit. I'm sure you're aware of that. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the first play from scrimmage in the Hampton game, literally the first play from scrimmage, he has a 68-yard touchdown run. It's kind of his way of saying, yeah, I'm ready to go this season. And then he finishes 279 rushing yards, a couple of touchdowns, and Troup, I think, finished with about 400 rushing yards in that game. Didn't pass much, which when you're running it like that, you know, why bother passing it? It's just up and down the field. Chase Mosley had a touchdown run. And then defensively, obviously, they didn't give up any points. You can't do any better than that. Troup just has, I mean, they've got four-star athletes all over the field, both sides of the football. KJ McQueen for Troup, linebacker. Jeremiah Culpepper is going to
Oh,
Ole
yeah.
Miss. Monye Johnson, it's just a wealth of riches for that Troup team right now on both sides of the field. And one of the state's best kickers on top of it, and McCarty Harrelson. So yeah, Troup has everything rolling. And then LaGrange, you mentioned them, just what Coach Napier has done with that program is pretty remarkable, from where they were before he got there to where that program is now. It's so impressive. Casey McGill at quarterback has stepped in, and he's going to do an outstanding job. Peyton Davis, you mentioned him, had a big night running. And kind of the X factor for LaGrange right now is a player named DeAnthony Stewart. He's a junior. He's one of those guys going back to middle school. I remember watching him and people saying, keep your eye on him. He's going to be a star one day. and now he's a junior, and it's kind of his time. And the scrimmage against Heard County, he returned a kick for a touchdown. And then last week, he had a ran for 55 yards with a touchdown. He had a 59-yard touchdown catch, some more big returns. So he's the guy. And Coach Napier is so creative as an offensive play caller. He does such a great job getting him involved. And LaGrange's defense played great as well. J.D. Render, linebacker, had a great game. Javier Easter, Zy Huzzy, who's a big-time recruit at cornerback, had some pass breakup. So both teams played great. Outstanding players all over the field. Coaching-wise, you can't do any better than Coach Glisson at Troop and Coach Napier at LaGrange. So, yeah, it just, again, sets the table for what could be a special night.
Yeah, and Kevin, the game in town, we did mention Callaway still rolling. They ended up beating Mount Zion out of Jonesboro 22-12. They never trailed in the game. And Christian Kennedy had 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. Callaway has jumped into the top 10 for 3A. And another team, I think this is going to be a collision course at the end of the year, Northeast out of Macon also jumped into the top 10. I know in 3A we hear about Pierce County, who beat the brakes off of Coosa Christian, Carver, who's won 2 straight state titles in 2A, and then you have teams like Toombs County, Worth County, but I wouldn't sleep on Callaway or Northeast because I think when it's all said and done, these two teams are going to meet for a region championship at the end of the year, and Callaway takes on the 4-time state champions in Bowden next week. What are you looking forward to about covering Callaway and the type of team they are in the 3A classification?
Yeah, Callaway season opener last week against Mount Zion. It's kind of a weird night. I don't know if in Columbus, if they were dealing with the weather issues.
We were a little bit, but I think you guys were dealing with it a lot more. That storm was up there in LaGrange. Yeah,
so at Callaway Stadium Friday night, Callaway scored the touchdown. Christian Kennedy, who you mentioned, he had 2 touchdown runs, and he's a really, really nice player. And Zy Dandy, a wide receiver for Callaway, had a big touchdown catch in that game. But anyway, Christian Kennedy has a touchdown run, 2-point conversion, 8-0. And then you see the lightning, and it's literally a delay of about 90 minutes after that, which actually works out kind of well. Actually, one of the teams we also cover is Heard County. So I was able to go up there and watch them. They were playing Central Carroll. And, man, Heard County is really good, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But for Callaway, it was just it was a workmanlike win. You had that long delay and never really got into a true offensive rhythm. And Mount Zion hit for a couple of big plays. But Callaway was the better team. They played well on defense. It was the first start for A.J. Williams at quarterback. Of course, A.J. is the younger brother of Tank Bixby, former Callaway star. So A.J. threw a touchdown pass, and Christian Kennedy, like I mentioned, had 2 touchdown runs. Christian is such a fun player. He's maybe 5'8". He's not the tallest guy, but, man, he just runs so hard, and it's rare that one guy brings him down. So this, and Caden James is probably their most high-profile player at Callaway as a defensive back. He had a big night, locked down Mount Zion's best receiver, had a couple of catches, returned a punt for a touchdown. They got called back, unfortunately, but that did set up a score. So, yeah, at Callaway, I know we've talked about Coach P. Wiggins before. It starts with him at the top, and he has 196 career wins now, by the way. Yeah. So he's going to be getting to 200 this year, and he's got really a new coaching staff this year, a new defense coordinator, a new offense coordinator. So you would think it wouldn't be the smoothest operation right out of the gate, but again, when you have that continuity at the top, you know Callaway is always going to be in the mix. They've won. This is kind of a crazy stat. It's like 20 straight years now. They've won at least one playoff game. And that's so hard to do. It is so hard to do. And they've been to the semifinals a bunch. In fact, they made it like 4 straight years. So, yeah, the expectation at Callaway is we're going to compete for region championships, which they always do, and we're going to compete for state titles. And they've got one in 2020, and they've come close to winning a bunch more. So I expect them to be in the mix. And yeah, this game this Friday is going to be a lot of fun. Bowden's not quite the same Bowden team. They lost to Bremen this past week, but they won 4 straight state titles. I mean, so that's going to be such a fun game.
Kevin, I'm really just impressed with, your coverage in Georgia on BeeTV Sports. You've got 4 teams you cover that are state championship contenders. Heard County can compete for a 2A state championship. Callaway, 3A. You got Troup County over there at 4A and then LaGrange at 5A. But I want to go to the other side of the river because you also cover Chambers County. And there's a rivalry that came back this year. They didn't play last year, but the Valley-Lynette rivalry is back. Dan Washburn Stadium, Clifford Story Field. You got the Valley Rams going to be taking on the Lynette Panthers. And I think this is an important rivalry to bring back for the community. How important is this rivalry to return to Dan Washburn Stadium, this Valley-Lynette rivalry?
Oh, it's fantastic. In fact, at the media day that both those schools participated in, both those coaches were asked about that game, and they talked about how important it is to play that game. And it really is. Again, it's this Lynette football program, such incredible tradition, and they just played for a state championship last year. They won 2 state championships, I think 2017, 2019, under Coach Clifford Story. Valley doesn't have quite that sustained level of success, but they've been a consistent winner, and Coach Adam Hunter does a fantastic job with that program. So it's going to be a really fun night. I always enjoy getting over there. There's all those schools are so passionate about their football programs. That also includes Lafayette over there. On the private school level, of course, what Chambers Academy has done under Coach Jason Allen, 3 straight state championships. Springwood School, they're playing 8-man football this year, and they've won on a high level consistently. But yeah, as far as this Valley-Lynette game, that's going to be so much fun. This will be the opener for Valley. They had a scrimmage last week, and Lynette opened its season with a loss to Lochapoka on the road. But Lynette's actually starting an 8th grader at quarterback, which is pretty incredible. Of course, in Georgia, you have to be a freshman before you can play in high school. Lynette, you can play as a 7th, in Alabama, you can play as a 7th grader on the varsity level. So the quarterback for Lynette actually played as a 7th grader, and now he's stepping in as an 8th grader as the starting quarterback. So you think about that responsibility for a team with state championship aspirations. But Coach R.J. McDonald does a really nice job with that Lynette program. And I mentioned Coach Hunter at Valley. So that's going to be so much fun. We're going to kind of be double teaming it for BeeTV Sports. Obviously, I'll be at Callaway Stadium for LaGrange Troup. We'll have some other team members over there for Lynette and Valley. So yeah, that's going to be a fantastic game, and it should be a packed house for sure.
And Kevin, I also don't want to forget about Lafayette Christian. You also cover Lafayette Christian in the Gaps. How's their season going?
Well, they opened their season. They played Unity last week and lost to them, but Unity is such a good program. Lafayette Christian. They unveiled their new press box at the game this past week, so that's pretty cool for Lafayette Christian. And they've got their own football stadium there, so they do a great job of supporting athletics at that school. Yeah, Lafayette Christian, they've won a pair of state championships over the years. They've kind of, like a lot of schools, Springwood's this way, they kind of rotate between 11-man football and 8-man football, which is a great luxury for schools that size. If that 8-man was not a possibility, some of these schools would not be able to play.
Right.
But having 8-man gives you that luxury, being able to field a team even if you don't have the numbers. So yeah, they're kind of like Callaway. Their expectation is, we're gonna compete for state championships every year, and they've won a few. They played for a state championship last year, so I always enjoy getting over there. I was able to get over there for a little bit of their game this past Friday as well, so it's a great atmosphere. Yeah, and we're looking forward to big things from the Cougars this year.
Finally, Kevin, there is a big college football game September 5th at
Yeah.
Callaway Stadium, 7:30. Might be the biggest college football game in the history of Troup County. Point LaGrange. Look, I know that it's an NAIA school taking on an NCAA Division III school. I was talking to the SID at Point. This is a big rivalry, and I hope they do this every year. I'm going to try to make it up to Callaway Stadium. I know it's a busy college football weekend, but I think this game's important for the community. Will I be seeing you at Callaway Stadium if I do make the decision to go ahead and cover it?
Oh, I would not miss that game for sure. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. They played last year over in Valley at Ram Stadium, and LaGrange College took it to them. I mean, they absolutely took it to them last year. That was kind of a springboard for what was a great season for the Panthers. I mean, just a remarkable turnaround season. They won their conference, won an NCAA Division III playoff game,
Oh, yeah.
and then went on the road and almost beat Barry in the second round, which would have got them, I think, to the quarterfinals. And this is a LaGrange College program that was winless a couple years ago, and now here they are competing at that high of a level. And over at Point, obviously they're just trying to get that program going. They've had some winning seasons before. It's been kind of a little bit of a tough road, and they're just looking to kind of get that train rolling a little bit. And I know they're very excited about coming to Callaway Stadium for that game. I hope we get a massive crowd. I really do. I don't know what the big time college schedule looks like that day, but man, yeah, we're gonna really promote that game. We're gonna do some pregame stuff there, so I'm excited about that. I'm very. It's just been really cool to see what LaGrange College has been able to do, and it shows that if you recruit right, you get the kind of players that fit your program, and you get the right coach in place, you can turn things around very quickly. And I know that's what they're hoping to do at Point. And yeah, I'm glad you plugged that. I cannot wait for that game. That's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, Wes Dotson, his second
Well,
year at
yes, that's
LaGrange.
Wes Dodson.
Yeah, and then Nigel Lawrence. I've known him from his days as assistant coach at Russell County, leading the Point Skyhawks. It's going to be a battle. I can't wait. Kevin, I hope that I get you on periodically throughout the football season as we talk about these incredible matchups. But thank you so much for just taking time out of your busy schedule, coming on the sports beat like you always do. And yeah, I'm excited, and I can't wait to see you out there.
Yeah, and check us out, BeeTV Sports Facebook page. We'll have full coverage Friday night of the Troup LaGrange showdown at Callaway Stadium. Cannot wait. And I appreciate you as always, Richard. Thanks for what you do.
Absolutely. Kevin Eckleberry, everybody, from BeeTV Sports. Thank you for watching another episode of the Sports Beat. We will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for watching the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. You can catch new episodes on Facebook and YouTube every Monday and Wednesday night at 5 p.m. The Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge is a local podcast that covers sports in Columbus, Georgia.